This is Chisinau, the capital of the Republic of Moldova, a small country in Eastern Europe, wedged between EU member state Romania in the west and Ukraine in the east. On August 27, 2025, Moldova will mark 34 years of independence from the Soviet Union. But this year, Moldova's Independence Day will not just be a commemoration of a key event in the country's history. It will also be hugely significant in terms of current international politics because it comes just weeks before crucial parliamentary elections in Moldova and against the backdrop of Russia's war in neighboring Ukraine. The history of this tiny European country is just as complicated as its present. Before Moldova became an independent country on August 27, 1991, control of the country had shifted repeatedly between Romania and Russia. In 1990, a year before Moldova officially declared independence from the Soviet Union, the region of Transnistria, a thin strip of land stretching along Moldova's eastern border with Ukraine, broke away from Moldova. Transnistria rejected Chisinau's pro-independence, pro-Romanian path and wanted to remain part of the USSR. After Moldova declared independence, the conflict between Moldova and the pro-Russian breakaway region erupted into open fighting, with Russian troops who had been stationed in Transnistria since Soviet times supporting the separatists. The war ended with a ceasefire in July 1992. But the frozen conflict persists to this day, with Russian troops still stationed in the region. Transnistria is now controlled by pro-Russian separatists, but internationally recognized as part of Moldova. The close ties between Moscow and the breakaway region have given Russia strong political leverage over Moldova for many years.
Federația Rusă a utilizat în toți acești ani regiunea transnistreană pentru a vulnerabiliza Republica Moldova și pentru a pune piedici parcursului nostru de integrare europeană și aderare la valorile și lumea occidentală.
But more than 3 decades after gaining independence, Moldova remains in a kind of political limbo between East and West. Its population is split between pro-Russians and pro-Europeans. So, with Russia waging war in neighboring Ukraine and Russian troops still stationed in Transnistria, how great is the Russian threat to Moldova?
It all depends about the interests of the people who are running Russia, right? When that would be people who are interested in cooperation. It could be a bridge. But when it is like now, that the people who are running in the Kremlin, then there is a possibility that Transnistria may be used for not positive interests, right? So it all depends on what kind of people are running Russia, and right now it is not very, as we all know, very positive.
But both Moldova's government and President Maia Sandu are strongly pro-European. Their main goal is to bring the country closer to the European Union by introducing reforms, fighting corruption, and strengthening the country's democratic institutions. But this strategy faces constant challenges, with the country's pro-Russian opposition pushing back strongly and the war in neighboring Ukraine piling on extra pressure. The upcoming parliamentary election, which is due to take place on September 28, could decide whether the country stays on its pro-European path or drifts back into Moscow's orbit. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine 3 years ago, the war in Ukraine has highlighted Moldova's geostrategic significance. The country has sheltered hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian refugees while facing repeated Russian attempts at interference and disinformation. Although not yet a member of the EU, Moldova is seen by Europe as a buffer state in the defense of European values and security. That's why German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, French President Emmanuel Macron, and Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk will attend this year's Independence Day celebrations in Chisinau. Their presence will send out a powerful message that Moldova is not alone, and that its independence is vital for the stability of the entire region.